Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. I welcome you all for today's guest lecture on the essence of chanting and commentary on Noble Eightfold Path. Before starting the lecture, I would like to brief you about the objective of today's lecture. So we'll be talking about the Noble Eightfold Path. It is an early summary of the path of Buddhist practice leading to the liberation from samsara, the painful cycle of rebirth. The Eightfold Path consists of 8 practices: right thought, right intent, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The Noble Eightfold Path is the heart of Buddhist teaching led to self-empowerment. Today's guest lecture will discuss the essence of chanting and commentary on Noble Eightfold Path. Let us have a view of our today's schedule for the lecture. We'll start with Bhikkhu Sangha chanting. Then we'll have a welcome note. Then after, we'll have a address from Dharma Master Andrew J. Williams. And later on, we'll have an address by our chief guest, Venerable Dr. Ponchai Pallavadhamo. Later on, followed by the vote of thanks. So this guest lecture is organized by Tathagat Buddha Chair, Samrat Ashok Subharti School of Buddhist Studies, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University. And I am Pallavi Tyagi, an assistant professor in Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies. Would like to introduce you about our university. Swami Vivekanand Subharti University is a university under Section 2F of the University Grant Commission Act 1956. Set up under the Swami Vivekanand Subharti Vishwavidyalaya, Uttar Pradesh Adhiniyam 2008, the university has been established under the aegis of Mahayana Theravada Vajrayana Buddhist Religious and Charitable Trust Meerut. It has acquired a commendable record of service in the field of education, healthcare, and social welfare. The main campus of the university is in National Capital Region, strategically situated on National Highway 58, Delhi Bypass Road, and it is called Subharatipuram. The university has several constituent colleges which provide higher education in mostly all disciplines like medical, dental studies, nursing, physiotherapy, paramedical, pharmacy, naturopathy, yogic sciences, engineering, management, law, journalism, education, library sciences, arts and sciences, hotel management, faculty of sciences, Buddhist studies, etc. It is engaged by design to create academically and technically proficient professionals. University has been awarded the Member of Association of Universities in 2013, All India Conference of Intellectuals and School of the Educators have conferred the university as an outstanding university for the year 2013 and 14. This award has been basically given to the university for its outstanding contribution in the field of education, science, healthcare, national integration, social empowerment, and preservation of cultural heritage. The university has also started a number of different courses through distant education, approved by Distant Education Bureau of University Grant Commission, UGC. The university has also been accorded Grade A by National Assessment and Accreditation Council in 2016. I want to introduce you about the Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies. It is an international Buddhist college established by Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, as its constituent college by the initiation of Dr. Shailya Raj, Chief Executive Officer of Swami Vivekanand Subharti University. She is an academician and social activist, along with Dr. Hirohito, founding director of Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies, whose inspiration led to the founding of Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies, a world-class center of Buddhist learning. Their brilliant thoughts were responded to beyond expectations by Buddhist delegates from 13 different countries who participated in a pre-inaugural SASSBS conference at university campus. At this historic meeting on 10th of March 2018, the Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies was founded in its principles, and it was decided to formally inaugurate the Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies in the Vesak month of 2018. It marked the first event in the history of District Meerut when Buddhists of nearly all sects in Buddhism represented and gathered for the same purpose, the progress of Buddhist studies. On this historical occasion, about 130 Buddhist monks, scholars, and teachers from 13 countries paid homage to the Bodhi tree, which has founded in Swami Vivekanand Subharti University campus near Samrat Ashok Subharati School of Buddhist Studies. The age of this Bodhi tree has been confirmed to be about 115 years by local horticulture authorities in 2018. Historically, Meerut has been under vast influence of Buddhism and its culture since the 3rd century BC, as there existed an Ashokan pillar in Meerut in those times, which was later relocated to Delhi by Emperor Firoz Shah Tughlaq. The Sultan is said to have learnt about this Ashokan pillar existing in Meerut in the 14th century, and he got it transported to Delhi. Some historians are of the opinion that this magnificent structure was built by Mauryan Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century. Now I want to talk about Tathagat Buddha Chair, which has organized today's guest lecture. Tathagat Buddha Chair was established in 2019 under the specialized guidance of Dr. Shailya Raj, Chief Executive Officer of Swami Vivekanand Subharti University. The chair serving as the center of learning and research, not only on the subject concerning to Tathagat Buddha and his philosophy, but also on the issues concerning the socio-economic, cultural, religious life, peace, meditation, yoga, etc. In pursuance of his objectives, the chair is undertaking research on the topics related to Tathagat Buddha. The chair, time to time, also organizes teaching, seminars, symposiums, workshops, exhibitions, lecture series, and other similar academic activities. Now, I would like to request Bhikkhu Sangha to come and chant. Please join your hands for chanting.
Tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddha bija charana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttara purisa dhamma sarati sattva deva manusanang buddho bhagavati savakhato Bhagavata Dhamma Sanditthiko Akaliko Yehi Pasiko Vapanayiko Pachatang Veditabu Viyuhiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yaya Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samiji Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yatidang Chattari Purisa Yuga Ni Ata Purisa Purgala Yesa Bhagavatu Savaka Sangho Ahunaya Pahunaya Dakhinaya Anjali Karaniya Anuttarang Puyang Khetang Lokasati Bahudeva Manosa Cha Mangalani Achintayung Akhankamano Sotanang Bruhi Mangalamuttamang Asevana Cha Balanang Panditanang Cha Sevana Puja Cha Pujaniyan Yetang mangalamuttamang patirupadesa vasoch Pubbecha katapuyata atta sammapanidhicha Yetang mangalamuttamang bahu sachang cha sipang cha vinayo cha susikhita subhasita cha yavacha Etang mangalamuttamang mata pitu upadhan Puttadara sasanghawa anakula chakamanto Etang mangalamuttamang danang cha dhammacharya cha yatakanang cha sanghawa anavajjani kammani Etang mangalamuttamang arati virati papa Majjapana cha sayyama apamado cha dhammesu Etang mangalamuttamang garavo cha nivato cha sanduti cha katayuta kalena dhamma savana Etang mangalamuttamang khanti cha swavacha sata samananang cha dasanang kalena dhamma sakaksha Etang mangalamuttamang tapa cha brahmacharya cha arya satchana dasana Nibbana Satchikiriya cha Yetang mangalamuttamang Buddhasa loka dhamme ye chittang yasanakampati Asokang virajang khemang Yetang mangalamuttamang Yeta disadikatvanang sabbatang aparajita Sabata soti gachanti tang te sang mangalamuttamang Karaniya matha kusalena yang tang sadang padang abhisamecha sakwa wujucha sujucha suvacha cha samudu anatimani sandu sakwa cha subarocha Apakicha chasalaukavuti sandrindriya chanipakacha apagabu kulesu anuvidwa nachakudang samachare kinchiye nayi pare upavademu sukhino vakhemino hantu Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata ye kenchipana bhuta sita savatavarav anavasesa digavaye mahantav Majjimarasaka anukatula ditavaye va adita Ye chadure vasanti abhidure bhutava sambhave siv Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata na paro parang nikubeta nati mayeta kata chinang kinchi byaro sanapakigasaya Nayamaya sadukamichaya mata yatani yang putta ayusaye kaputa manurak evam pisababhutesu manasang bhavaya aparimanang metang cha sabbalokasmi manasang bhavaya aparimanang udang adocha tiriyang cha asambadang averang asapatang titang charan nisinno vasayano yavata savigatamidvayetang sadi aditaya brahmametang viharang idamahuditin cha anupagamasilava Dasanena sampanno kamesu vinayagedang nahi jatu gabaseyo punarete Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te.
Thank you so much, Bhanteji. Most Venerable Sangha, Honorable Sir Madam, dear brothers and sisters in Dharma. On the behalf of my fellow members of Tathagat Buddha Chair, Samrat Ashok Subharti School of Buddhist Studies, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, I, Pallavi Tyagi, would like to welcome our chief guest, Venerable Dr. Ponchai Pallavadhammo, President of World Alliance of Buddhists, and our guest speaker, Dharma Master, Dharmacharya, Andrew J. Williams, and all the participants who have joined us today from different virtual platforms for this auspicious guest lecture on the essence of chanting and commentary on the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the first virtual lecture organized in 2021 by Tathagat Buddha Chair, Samrat Ashok Subharti School of Buddhist Studies, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University. In a resolution by Tathagat Buddha Chair, we have decided that we will organize at least one lecture a month on Buddhist teachings. I hope you all will enjoy the guest lecture. May the power of Triple Gem bless you all. May all be happy and well. Going forward, as the planned today's lecture, I want to introduce you all to our guest, Venerable Dr. Ponchai Palavadhamo. Venerable Dr. Ponchai Palavadhamo, originally a medical doctor, but after studying Dhamma deeply, he decided to give up his profession and start working for Dhamma activities. He served as president of the World Fellowship of Buddhist Youth from 2010 to 2016 as president. Later on, he established World Alliance of Buddhists as founding president in 2016. Wab family is flourishing in his leadership. He widely traveled around the world and organized several Dhamma activities, especially in Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Cambodia, to name a few. Earlier, he was an advisor of Religious Art and Cultural Committee, House of Representatives, Thai Parliament 2011 to 2013, advisor to the Subcommittee of Buddhist Religious in Committee of Religious Art and Culture, House of Representatives, Thai Parliament 2009 till 2012. Venerable has received many awards. I want to name a few of them. Considering his hard work in Dhamma activities, he has been awarded Sadhamma Jyotika Dhaja religious title from Myanmar government in 2018, the first Ashoka Pillar Award from National Office of Buddhism, Thailand 2015, Global Peace Ambassador Award in 2016, and Global Environment Care Award 2016 by International Buddhist Education Institute, India, and there are many more in the list. Now, I would like to welcome request Venerable Dr. Ponchai to address us all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, Dr. Ponchai.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I talk from Thailand, and today I am very happy to join the Subharti University, invited by Dr. Hirohito. And as the topic today is about Eightfold Path of the Buddha, I think this is very important. As we are Buddhists, Buddha always taught us about the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. As you know that Buddha is come from India, the motherland of Buddhism. He born in Lumbini, Nepal, and enlightened at Bodhikaya. After enlightened, he go to give the Dhamma talk. The first propagation of our Lord Buddha is he walked Dhammayatra from Bodhikaya, the place where he enlightened, to Saranath, the Isipatana Malukha Thayawan forest, to give the Dhamma talk to the five hermits, what we call Pachawaki. The first sutta he gave Dhamma talk is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. This is a very important sutra in of Buddha teaching, and this sutra very important because it's about the middle way, Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. That's why today I would like to talk about the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. I don't know, have time for me, how long? Professor, hello? 50 minutes, nah? Hello?
Yes, Bantiji.
As how long?
You have all our time. Please go on.
Because I don't familiar with this technology. Usually we use Zoom now. This is another technology, and in Zoom we can check how many participants in the room. How many participants in the room?
There are many participants in the
many
room. We have
participants in
all
the
our
room.
students connected today with us.
Uh,
We cannot see all the participants here because you are live on YouTube and Facebook page of the university.
okay.
Yes.
So okay, the first sutta of our Lord Buddha is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I talk about this sutta because it's about Four Noble Truth and Eightfold Path. As you know that we have to know that the teaching of our Lord Buddha, he always talk about the result first and then the cause result and cause. Four Noble Truth is same. First, Buddha talks about the suffering. The Four Noble Truth is the truth that is noble, or the truth of the noble person is Buddha, or the truth that makes a person to be noble. So the Four Noble Truths, uh, it talk about the result first. First one is suffering or dukkha. Dukkha is inevitable. Dukkha and dukkha from economic. For example, this time we got the COVID pandemic. So economic is don't good society. We have now we have to stay with social distance. Sometimes cannot have a meeting. Sometimes cannot gathering. That's why we today we study on like Zoom technology and dukkha form definement. This is a and this is a suffering. The Four Noble Truths comprise of four parts. Number one is suffering. The second is samutai. Samutai is the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is our wanting to have, wanting to be, and wanting not to be. This is the cause of suffering. We cause suffering because we want to have, we want to be, and we don't want to be, but we be. We want to be, we cannot be. We want to have, but we don't have. This is the cause of suffering. Then the third one is uh, we call Nirodha. Nirodha is indeed is nirvana. Nirvana have to nirvana. Nirvana why we still alive. We attain the Dharma of the Lord Buddha inside our body. We go to nirvana, and nirvana after that we our body decay, uh, broken, but our mind, the body inside our human body, we have another body, Dhamma body, go to nirvana. This is Nirodha. But we can go to Nirodha by the Makha or Eightfold Path, the way to end suffering. Buddha said that the path to end the suffering is the middle way or the Noble Eightfold Path, which comprise of number one is the light view. First, we must have the light view first for the Eightfold Path, the will and wisdom in accordance with the truth to have the right understanding on the matter dealing with the elimination of defilements. Indeed, I would like everyone to easy to remember is Eightfold Path. Number one, light view, the view of we believe in the law of karma. This is because we are in samsara and we are under the law of karma. We believe in Buddha. We believe in his wisdom that can make the teach the people to enlighten like him and eliminate the defilement. This is the light view. We believe in law of karma. Light thought. Number two is light thought. Light thought is mean we have to have the right intention. The thought of removal from the influence of sensual desire, remove from involvement in our family life. This is light thought. The thought of ending revenge. And number three, thought of not causing suffering to others. This is a light thought. So when we say Eightfold Path, we don't just call light view, light thought, light speed, light action, but in each topic we have the detail in each topic. So if we understand the detail in each topic of the Eightfold Path, we can understand that why Buddha taught about Eightfold Path, and this is the middle way to go to nirvana. So we got the light view, light thought. Number 3 is light speech. Light speech is mean to speak the truth with kindness, to abstain from lies, slander, harsh language, and idle chatter. Number 4 is light action. Light action is mean good conduct, not killing the living beings, not stealing, not sexual misconduct. This is the light action. Number 5 is light livelihood. Light livelihood is mean to practice honest and wholesome profession, not to engage in the occupation that involve about selling the weapons, selling the human, selling the animal for kill, for slaughter, selling the poison. This is the 5 occupation that Buddha prohibit because it bring the bad karma to people who do this. The occupation of selling weapons, selling humans, selling animal for slaughter, selling the poisons. ฆ่ามนุษย์ฆ่าอาวุธฆ่าสัตว์นำไปฆ่าค้ายาพิษ and selling the drug addict. This one ยาเสพติด fight. And number 6 is light effort. Light effort is mean to do the good deeds and avoid the bad deeds. That mean we don't not allow the unwholesome action to occur, to abandon all the existing defilements and to create the new virtue, to uphold the existing virtue. This is light effort. It means anything we used to do bad thing, we not do it, and we do the good deeds, create the new virtue, new anything good we do, on anything we used to do and good we maintain. This is the light effort. Number 7 is light mindfulness. Mindfulness is mean we have the light awareness. This is in Pali language we call Satipatthana. Satipatthana 4 is seeing body in body, seeing mind in mind, and Dharma in Dharma. It is like mindfulness is connect with meditation. If we have good awareness, good meditation, we have mindfulness. And we go to the last one is like meditation. Like meditation. So this is all the eightfold paths of the teaching of the Lord Buddha. When we learn about Buddhism, the first sutra, Buddha teach many sutra in Tipitaka, but the first sutra he teach is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta at Saranath, Isipatana Malakka Thayawan Forest in India. And Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is explain about the middle way, the Four Noble Truths, and the Eightfold Paths. And today we know the essence of Eightfold Paths, which comprise of number 1 is again to light view. It means we believe in Buddha, believe in the law of karma. Light thought, the thought that we think about removal from the influence of sensual desire, ending the events and not causing suffering to others. This is the light thought. Okay. Number 3, light speech. Only talk about the truth. This is very important. When we do anything, we talk as we do, and we do as we speak. As we talk. This is light speech. When we talk, we do that. When we do that, we talk like that. Don't tell a lie or surrender or harsh language. Number 4, light action is good conduct. It mean not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconduct. Number 5, light livelihood is mean be honest and don't do the not to engage with the fight occupation. That means selling the weapon, selling the human, for example, selling the lady for to be the prostitute or something like that, selling animal for killing, selling the poison and selling the drug addict. This is don't engage to this occupation, although it bring you a lot of money, but at last you will get a lot of result of bad karma. And seek again like effort is mean to stop bad action, to continue the good action, create the new virtue, and not do the bad thing, new bad thing again. That's mean uh, any bad thing you do, up and down, cancel, don't do again. Never do, don't do it. But the good thing, create the new virtue and maintain the new virtue that you do already to uphold existing virtue. And number 7 is light mindfulness. And number 8 is light meditation. So this is the eightfold part. It's very important, especially meditation. If you meditate every day, just close your eye. You can follow me. Just close your eye. Gently close your eye. And relax your body. Relax your body. And don't worry about your family, your education, or your business or anything. You just release and relax for few minutes. And you may think of the Buddha in the center of your body. You may think of the Buddha or the full moon, the bright full moon in the center of your body. And you may bhavana, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang. Make the voice come from the center of your body or the center of the Buddha that you think of, or anyone like the full moon. You can think of about full moon in the center of your body. When your mind stays still with meditation, you will find the middle way of the Lord Buddha, and you can understand the eightfold path which the Buddha teach us from his enlightened wisdom. Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang. So today I would like to end my speech today, and I do hope that everyone feel happy and hope you can have time for practice the middle way meditation every day, and you will understand the eightfold path and meet the happiness and successful in your life always. Thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable Ponchai. It is always so nice to listen to you, and the way you make us practice this was very wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay,
With your
sadhu,
permission,
sadhu. Thank you for inviting me to join the Subharti University.
yes,
And I used to visit
we would
Subharti
be
there.
very obliged. We would be very obliged if sometime after this pandemic time you would come and visit us all and enlighten us.
Yes. I hope that to visit Subharti again. Sadhu. Thank you too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Venerable. With your permission, I would like to go forward
Okay.
with guest lecture.
Yes. From
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So now I would like to welcome Dharmacharya Andrew J. Williams. Dharmacharya ji is prominently known as Dharma Master Andrew amongst his students, and I would also like to call him Dharma Master. Dharma Master Andrew J. Williams has been a Dharma teacher since 1998, initially in the USA and now in Australia. He has studied and received teachings in all of the three major Buddhist traditions of Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, and is currently a resident teacher at the Shuan Temple in Melbourne, as well as occasionally teaching at various other temples, dharma centers, Buddhist clubs, universities, schools, retreats, and in the general public, both in Australia and internationally. He is also a regular guest and keynote speaker at Buddhist and interfaith forums and dialogues and co-host of the Voice of Faith radio program. Master Andrew has written numerous Buddhist mini musicals and which have been performed at UN Vesak celebration in Australia. These musicals have been released on CD and on the internet for free distributions. Master Andrew has also acted as one of the editors of the Sanskrit, Vietnamese, English Buddhist dictionaries and the book Unveiling Your Sacred Truth, and will himself have a series of Dharma books published in 2021 and 22. He is also a regular contributor to various Buddhist magazines and websites, as well as other social media sites and pages. He is actively engaged as a committee member of the Buddhist Federation of Australia, the World Fellowship of Buddhist Youth, the World Alliance of Buddhists, Sanghakaya Foundation, World Buddhist Association, and the Kessi Multi-Faith Network. In addition, in July 2017, he was honored with the World Buddhist Outstanding Leader Awards. I would like to request Dharma Master Andrew to address us all on today's very topic and enlighten us. Welcome, Dharmacharya ji.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be involved today, and also to see my Dharma brother, Venerable Pornchai, for the first time in a very long time, apart from pictures on Facebook. So I hope everybody can understand what I'm about to say with my slightly Australian accent. I was actually born in Wales in Great Britain, so my accent's a little bit mixed. So we will talk. Venerable Pornchai already mentioned some of the Eightfold Path. I will elaborate on that a little bit more. And also we will talk about the purpose and the essence of chanting, that is using our ability to speak and our verbal abilities to help us to train our mind, as well as utilizing this body, because obviously the ability to speak comes from inside the body. So you could say that chanting or reciting verses and prayers and sutras and so forth, and mantras and so forth, this is like engaging the whole of our being. We're engaging our mind because, of course, the mind is the chief. This is really what we are training, what we're purifying in the Dharma practice, utilizing the body and the speech. So when we're doing the chanting, you know, we're putting our hands together like this. This is like we call mudra, or hand gesture. And of course, the whole body is involved there. Then you have your speech, and it is to train the mind. So what I will do right now is just recite some short verses in English. The first three come from the Tibetan tradition. The fourth one comes from the Chinese, the Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese tradition. And then also a couple of mantras. The reason for this, already we have chanted in Pali, so we've included the Theravada tradition, but also I would like now to acknowledge the Mahayana tradition and Vajrayana tradition as well. This is what we call the three major traditions within Buddhism. Of course, there's subdivisions of these traditions as well. And then I will do actually a dedication prayer at the end, coming from the Tibetan tradition. I will do ahead of time rather than at the end, in case we run out of time. So you can put your hands together, engage your body now. You may not be reciting the prayer, but you can listen. You can utilize what the Buddha called the wisdom of hearing. I like to call the wisdom tool, because it's kind of like a tool for us to develop wisdom. The wisdom of hearing, then the wisdom of contemplation, and then the wisdom of meditation, or absorbing the mind with what it is you understand. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the Dharma, may I soon attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. And may they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginning this time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayada Hum Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayada Hum Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayada Hum Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. So, like I mentioned, the purpose of chanting is to train the mind, to purify our mind. So when we're chanting, or the first stage of chanting, obviously, is we read the prayers, and maybe we get some understanding of what it is we're actually saying, and what our aspiration is during these verses or prayers. Of course, in Buddhism, we're not asking for anything, even though on occasions it may sound like that. You know, in the bit of chanting I did there was, you know, please, Lord Buddha, inspire me to be able to do so. But actually the inspiration comes from the Dharma, from the actual practice of the Dharma and the thought of the Buddha. You know, because, you know, when we say, for instance, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa, or homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Buddha. This is developing some respect for the Buddha. This is developing some appreciation and gratefulness so that we pay attention more. It's like if we don't do this, it's very easy for us to see the Buddha, the enlightened beings, as equal to yourself, for instance. But actually, we need to have something to aim towards, a purpose. And it's also the same with the Immaculate Dharma. And of course, the supportive Sangha, the fourfold Sangha, the Sangha of bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, upasakas and upasikas. And of course, this is broken up again into the ordained Sangha and then the lay Sangha. So this Sangha, this word means support. It means it's like a supportive and harmonious community. We need to have the Sangha as well. For instance, the Buddha, you can say, to give an example, the Buddha is like the great physician. The Buddha gives us or prescribes us the medicine of the Dharma. So the medicine is the supreme medicine for purifying the mind, to free ourselves from what we call samsara, or cyclic existence, to attain what we call enlightenment, or nirodha, cessation from the causes of suffering. And so the Sangha, like the nurses, doctors and nurses in the hospitals, where they help to administer the medicine of the Dharma. So that's Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, very, very important. We call the three jewels, or the triple gem. This is because as Buddhists, we see these three, perceive these three as the most valuable things within this world and beyond. Very important to know that. And so, of course, the Buddha said, do no harm, do only good, purify your mind. Do no harm, you could say, relates to the practice of morality. Of course, this relates to the morality, the higher training in morality, enumerated as on the Eightfold Path as right speech, action, and livelihood. Then he says, do only good. This is like practicing meditation and engaging in the 3 higher trainings in meditation, which are the right effort, or what I like to call the right enthusiastic perseverance, because the right effort actually has those 2 aspects, the enthusiasm aspect as well as the perseverance aspect. Of course, through persevering and seeing some, or experiencing some good results as we practice, then this gives rise to more enthusiasm. As we have more enthusiasm and joy in our practice, then it makes it easier for us to persevere. And then, of course, the other 2 related to the higher training in meditation is the right mindfulness and the right concentration. Then the Buddha said, purify the mind. He mentioned this last because, like I said before, the mind is the chief. You know, it is really the mind. It's where karma is created, in the intention. And so this relates to the first 2 aspects of the Eightfold Path, which is right understanding, which is the specific antidote for ignorance, avijja, to uproot the ignorance, the belief in the self and the self of other, and so forth. And also the right intentions, which is the direct antidote for to help us to give up attachment and aversion. Of course, from the ignorance, there's the root there, the root cause of samsara, you could say. Then, of course, arising from that is this dualistic thinking, this conceptual thinking, attaching to things we find pleasant and want, and having aversion from things we find unpleasant and don't want. And these 3, the ignorance, the attachment, and the aversion, are also known as the 3 poisons, or the 3 poisonous attitudes. Of course, they give rise then to 3 more, which come as, or enumerated as, the 6 root delusions. Those 3 are arrogant pride, wrong views, and doubts or uncertainty. Then, of course, they give rise to the 20 secondary afflictions, which we don't have the time to go into today, but you can look them up, of course. And then, of course, I'd love to speak to you another time, and we can talk about it in more detail then too, and other teachers as well. And then, of course, these 26, the 6 root delusions and the 20 secondary afflictions, they then give rise to all of the mental problems, all of our mental afflictions and delusions. And so back to the original subject, or the initial subject for today, back to the chanting. So I think you're going to get some explanation of the words that you are chanting. It's really important to know what you're chanting, not to attach to it, not to grasp at it and cling to it, but actually just to have some understanding so that you can develop this understanding. You could say that you could say 3 different levels of understanding. There is the inferential understanding. This is inferring to the scriptures, to the sutras and so forth, Abhidharma and so forth, as well as your teachers, what you hear from others, or what you read, or what maybe you can see in films and things like that, the documentaries on the Buddha's life and so forth. So this is like inferential knowledge. Then you can think about it, you can contemplate, you can utilize the second of the wisdom tools, contemplation, where you get to use your ability to investigate and analyze to see if something is real and true or not. And so you think about this like, this is kind of like you can develop a direct, or indirect, I should say, indirect knowledge or indirect understanding of what it is that you are studying or looking to understand. Then, of course, you have to meditate and absorb your mind with this understanding. And through this meditation, you develop what you can call direct understanding or experiential understanding. I like to liken it to, for instance, in Australia, we have quite a large country, as you know, as India is very large as well. And in the center of Australia, we have what is believed to be the biggest rock in the world. It's called Uluru, or the English gave the name Ayers Rock. And I say, if you're at Uluru right now, or for your sake in the center of India, you're nowhere near the beach, but you want to know what the beach and the ocean is, you can look it up in books. You can ask people that have been there. You can look it up on the internet. Maybe have a look at pictures and things like that. And maybe even look into the science of it, the science of the water in the ocean, the sand on the beach, and the like. This is kind of like you're developing inferential knowledge. But then to go a little further, you have to venture and go to the beach and maybe look at it from the top of a cliff or even on the sand and look at the ocean. This is kind of like having more of an indirect knowledge. But to have direct knowledge, you have to engage all of your senses. You have to go into the ocean, experience it with your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body, and especially your mind. And so then you can develop this experiential knowledge. And so chanting helps us to do that. So in the beginning, you may be reading it, but I would really encourage you to memorize it. But be careful after you memorize it to not just do it blindly. Just do it, and all of a sudden you get to the end of the sutra. Let's say, for instance, you're chanting the turning of the wheel sutra, which is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, or the Heart Sutra, known in Sanskrit as the Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra, or the Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. And you start, you go through the process and you get to the end, but you actually didn't really pay attention to that. It's really important to not fall into that trap. But it's good to memorize, because then you have access to these teachings or these verses for training the mind at all times and everywhere you go. I think that's really important. And then to utilize the 3 higher trainings of hearing or studying or looking and getting some sort of visual and audio type of hearing of the teachings or the verses, then contemplating it, then investigating and analyzing, and to develop some understanding, and then absorbing your mind with that. I've written myself some bullet points here just so I don't forget anything. So we've covered all of that speech. Once again, I'll reiterate, the body, speech, and mind is engaged all the way through when we're chanting. Our body, it's vibrating. Even if you utilize, I know in India, you have the Sanskrit as the mother language. You have the word Om. Of course, it means different things in different traditions, different religions. But Om, if you think about that one, Ah or Ah vibrates the lung cavity. The O vibrates the chest cavity, and the vibrates the sinus cavity. So this, not only when you're doing the chanting, is this helping for develop the mind of understanding, but also it's helping the physical health within the body, in your body. So it's vibrating, vibrating all of the, what we call chakras or energy wheels, and all of the meridians throughout the body as well. So this is not only great for your Dharma studies, but also great to look after your physical health. That's just a little extra point I wanted to mention. So now we will talk specifically about the Eightfold Path. And I just let you know as well, for the organizers, because I've got full screen here, I don't have the clock. So maybe you have to let me know when I've got about 5 minutes left. And so anyway...
Please continue. I'll inform.
Yeah, good.
Please continue.
I have a little bit of a reputation with my students when, of course, we can do face-to-face class, of forgetting the time and doing really long lectures. So, yeah, please, you're my timekeeper.
We would love to listen to you for hours. Please continue.
Okay, so the Eightfold Path, like I mentioned, can also be known as the 3 higher trainings. The higher training in morality, the higher training in meditation, and the higher training in wisdom or insight. Now, morality, I should say as well, the Dharma practice, the actual Dharma practice, you could say that the whole of the Dharma practice is what to pick up, what to put down, or vice versa, what to put down, what to pick up. Also, we could use or express that as what to adopt and what to abandon. Now, of course, what should we abandon? We should abandon anything that brings harm to yourself or others through your body, your speech, and your mind. We should adopt what brings benefit to yourself and others with your body, your speech, and your mind. So we'll start at the third noble truth, because this is the first aspect of the higher training in morality. What should we abandon? We should abandon lying, telling non-truths. We should abandon using divisive speech, also known as slander. We should abandon using harsh language or abusive language. And we should abandon gossiping, speaking meaninglessly. I'd like to make the point here, this has to do also with the physical actions and the livelihood as well. Remember that it's our mind that we're training, but we're utilizing our speech and our physicality to help us to do this. If you lie, think about it. Who is the person, or who is the first person that experiences the lie? Who are you really lying to? It's actually yourself. Important to know that it's not only about not telling lies to others, either to get something you want or to avoid what you don't want, but actually you're lying to yourself in the beginning. And what starts to happen if you continue this lie or these lies, is that maybe you get so far along that you start to believe them yourself. Now, the Dharma practice is about perceiving or helping us to purify the mind so that we can perceive the truth, the relative truth, as well as eventually the ultimate truth. How can we possibly expect to perceive the truth if we are lying to ourselves and developing this non-truth mind, you could say? So it's important that we tell the truth. Sometimes you should avoid maybe speaking the truth out to others if you think it's inappropriate for them, or they don't have the ability to actually hear this right now in a good way. So then silence comes in, noble silence. I think a lot of the time, I spend a lot of time silent actually in my life for a long time now, even though I give Dharma talks, and when I'm with people, I'm very outgoing, very easy to talk to and talk with. But silence is very important so that we can check the mind, always checking our intentions, making sure that our intentions are good intentions, not only for ourselves, but for others, to have what we call the bodhicitta intention, or the awakened mind of compassion intention. Anyway, we move on to the second type of wrong speech that we should abandon or avoid, and that is dividing others, using divisive speech, also known as slandering. So often, people in the world divide others through their speech, speaking badly about others, or putting themselves above others. This is like a divisive speech. But we actually should speak to unite people. And as we do this, we're training our mind, you could say, on a deeper level, that we're uniting compassion and wisdom, or wisdom and method of the Dharma practice. Then we also should abandon or avoid using harsh language, abusive language. How would you like to be spoken to? I think you would like to be spoken to skillfully, clearly. You could almost say sweetly. Then we can have some nice feeling. It's very good feeling. But if we are abusive, if we are speaking unskillfully and harshly, then quite often, and most likely most of the time, the people will feel uncomfortable, at very least. Even if you're using there's joking around. There's many jokes that we have in the world in different cultures. Even if you're using maybe swear words to express these jokes, actually, maybe you need to be careful in that area, because you don't know how the other person is going to react to that or how they're going to take it. Now, remember that our speech is there for communication with others. The more you speak with pure intentions, the more you speak the truth, the more you speak to unite, and the more you speak skillfully, then I think the more your communication will be very clear with others. And even you don't have to repeat yourself, things like that. It's also helpful in that area. The last type of wrong speech we should abandon or avoid is gossiping. Now, I've been asked many times throughout the past, but gossiping isn't so bad, is it? And I say to them, actually, if you're gossiping about this or that, the other, and you're not slandering, you're not lying, you're not using abusive language, then it's not so bad. But it's so often mixed with the other three. And also, gossiping can be known as meaningless chatter. If you're having meaningless chatter or conversation with others, how can you expect to have meaningful conversations with others? Meaningful conversations that can lead to either of you and both of you developing genuine insight and genuine understanding. So it's important to avoid and abandon gossiping as well. Instead, we should adopt truth, speaking the truth, speaking to unite, speaking skillfully and meaningfully. So I think that covers for today the right speech. Now, right actions. First of all, we should abandon and avoid destroying life, such as killing living beings, any type of living being. Remember the word sentient being. This means a being with a mind, or a being that a thinking being and a feeling being with emotions. All of the living creatures, including the smallest of insects on this planet, have emotions and have the ability to think. It may not be anywhere near the vastness of consciousness that us human beings have, but they are still living beings. If we can avoid destroying the life of these living beings by being more aware and being more mindful, then we should do so. For instance, if you are walking on the path after the rain, a lot of insects could be there. Maybe you need to look down and be careful if you're out walking after the rain, especially. Just like that, I think if we can, I often say to people, if they have doubts in this type of teaching, maybe non-Buddhists, for instance, that imagine if you can save the life of living beings that look nothing like you, then how much easier would it be for you to save the life, or at least avoid destroying lives of those that look like you, such as other human beings. And it's especially those living beings that you regard as friends, enemies, or strangers. I should say friends and family first. It's very easy to be nice to them, unless, of course, you're arguing. And then, of course, the strangers, it would cover most of the people in the world. We don't really know them, or maybe you know them a little bit, but not much at all. And of course, those you regard as enemies, very difficult to try to bring benefit to them, because maybe they have hurt you, or maybe they're doing things that are not conducive to the happiness of others, and so forth. But actually, remember that this division that we have of friends, enemies, strangers is happening in your own mind. So try to think like this. Throughout the infinite past, infinite previous lives that you may have had, isn't it possible that all of these living beings have at some stage been your mother? Now, even if this isn't true for every single infinite living being, even if you have doubts about that, what a great way to train your mind to not hurt others. Every single living being has been your mother or your parent, your relative in the past. Now, would you hurt your mother right now? I doubt it very much. So how can you hurt a living being that has been your mother in a previous existence. So maybe you can think like that, to avoid taking life, to avoid destroying life. Remember that all beings tremble at the thought of being harmed. So knowing this, how can we harm them? All beings tremble at the thought of death. So how can we kill them? The next type of right action, the right action instead of killing should be to protect life and to save life if you can. Then the next type of right action, or first of all, wrong action that we should avoid, is to not take what is not freely given. It's really important to use that whole phrase. Normally we use don't steal, avoid stealing. But think about it, it's not, if something is not freely given to you, even if you have not taken it by force, but you have coerced it through your speech or actions from someone else, and they don't really want to give it to you, this is also a form of stealing. And it also could be related to your work, your time you're given, you're employed, for instance. Just trying to give some different types of examples today as well. If you're employed to work for 8 hours for the day, don't try to not do the work, because you're there for 8 hours to do the work. So you do that. This could be like a form of stealing. Also, your employer is entitled to pay you well. If they don't pay you well, it's kind of like a form of stealing. So remember, avoid or abandon taking what is not freely given. Instead, you should be generous. Instead, you should give yourself, give your time, give your good energy, your good vibes, give kindness, give compassion, and give whatever wisdom you may have, even if it's limited at the moment. Then the next type is to avoid sensual activities that are harmful, quite often known as sexual misconduct. Obviously, to avoid forcing yourself sexually on others and to abuse others in any way in this area. Instead, we should, if it is in your lifestyle to engage in this type of activity, then you should do so with care, with real love and appreciation and respect. Care for each other. This action can be quite helpful for married couples, for instance, to help the closeness, and help to relieve the tensions in the world, to increase the kindness and care for each other. So do so, really be careful with this one, do so with care and understanding, and not being selfish, not being self-centered in doing this. So that covers the right actions. The next one is the livelihood. Of course, the livelihood is very closely related to actions in your work, but not only your work, even in your hobbies that you do a lot, sports, things like this, and also in your schooling, in the university. You really should engage in the activities, the studies, for instance, and then later on the work that brings benefit to yourself and to others around you, and also the community at large, even the country and the world. So try to avoid getting involved in any, Dr. Ponchai mentioned, Venerable Ponchai mentioned before, the 5 different types, so I won't repeat them. But you can, anything that brings harm. For instance, this planet is struggling because of deforestation, because of too much pollution, because of too much mining, taking out, digging into the earth, destroying many, many things. If possible, we should avoid engaging in the activities like this as well. Of course, some communities around the world, maybe that's all they have. And so maybe try to work slowly to give this up if this is part of your life. Remember that the Buddha also said, and the great masters throughout the ages said, that good change so often happens slowly, bit by bit, step by step, breath by breath. Because that way it doesn't create some sort of discourse, either for individuals or collectively. So that, I think that covers for the moment the higher training in morality. To avoid, or to, like I mentioned before, what to adopt and what to abandon. You abandon wrong speech, you adopt right speech. You abandon wrong action, you adopt right action. You abandon wrong livelihood, and you adopt the right livelihood. So now we move on to the meditation aspect of the 3 higher trainings. So making the right effort. Once again, pointing directly into your mind. Of course, we have to make effort to do many things. I mentioned sport before. I know in India, you're great fans of cricket. And you just beat Australia in the cricket, actually. I know that. I didn't watch it myself. Too busy in my Dharma studies and practice. But I know in cricket, for instance, you have to make great effort to increase your skills, to increase your compatibility with your team, because it's a team sport, and to make great efforts in the actual play during a competitive match, for instance. Sometimes it's very hot weather and it takes so much energy out of you, but you have to continue making that effort. Now, remember that the effort begins in the mind. So even in these types of worldly activities, you're engaging your mind, and the effort is happening in your mind. The 4 great efforts that the Buddha spoke about. I will reiterate what I said earlier about the right effort having these 2 different aspects, enthusiasm and perseverance. Put together, enthusiastic perseverance. You should make the great effort that whenever, if thoughts, negative thoughts, akusala, or unwholesome thoughts have arisen in the mind, you should make the great effort to eradicate them, abandon them. If unwholesome thoughts have not yet arisen in the mind, you should make the great effort to not have them arise. If you already have wholesome kusala thoughts in your mind, you should protect them, make that great effort to protect them, nurture them, perfect them, keep them. If wholesome thoughts have not yet arisen in your mind, you should make the great effort to have them arise, to adopt them. I'd like to give an example, like if you have a fortress, like a castle, or this represents your mind actually, but like a community, the example is. Let's say, for instance, you have bad people in your fortress or your community. You don't want them there. They are bringing harm to everybody. So you kick them out. You open the door and you kick them out to create more peace, more harmony, and understanding in your community. This is just like when we have unwholesome thoughts in the mind. We eradicate them. We get rid of them. If there's somebody outside the doors or the gates to your community trying to come in and you know they're bad, they could bring harm to your community, you don't let them in. This is just like not allowing unwholesome thoughts to arise. If in your community you have virtuous people that are benefiting others, bringing wisdom and compassion, generosity, patience and morality to your community, you encourage them to stay. You keep them in your community. This is just like making the great effort to maintain wholesome thoughts that have already arisen. And if somebody wants to come into your community and they are virtuous and good and compassionate and wise and so forth, you let them in. This is just like you making the great effort that if wholesome thoughts have not yet arisen, you have them arise. So hopefully this type of example is helpful. I know the Buddha gave many parables and different stories to help to express his teachings. And this is where this idea comes from. So I think it's good. Us human beings, we tend to remember things like this quite often, more than if we don't hear them. So then we go on to right mindfulness. Mindful related to our physicality, our body. Mindful in relation to our feelings, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Mindful in relation to our mind. and mindful relation in relation to our mental objects or mental activities, also known as Dhamma. Now, Dhamma, if expressed in English or written in English as a capital D, normally means the Buddhist teachings and also the path to the truth and the truth itself. But if you read it as a small d, this represents or is representative of what we call phenomena or things or activities, whether mental or physical. Of course, in this case, we're talking about mental. And so the four foundations of mindfulness is the body, feelings, mind, and mind objects or activities. Okay, so we do our best to practice this in our everyday life, as well, of course, in our formal sitting meditation, if you engage in walking meditation, but even in your other activities. I share with you that, whether doesn't matter how mundane you think your activities are, cleaning your teeth, for instance, it's one of the benefits of that is you get fresh breath, you get clean teeth, looks after the health of your gums and your mouth, your teeth. But actually, if you do this mindfully, you're engaging in the mindfulness practice. If you do it with good intention, this is like Dharma practice. It's interesting how such a mundane thing as cleaning the teeth or mundane activity like this can actually be virtuous, non-virtuous, or neutral. If you have no intention whatsoever, like a neutral intention, it is what it is. But if you have good intention at that time, it becomes a virtuous activity. If you have bad intention, you're angry, you have vengeful thoughts at this time, then this action becomes non-virtuous. It's interesting, isn't it? Remember that the karma is created in our intention, in what we call the fourth of the skandhas or aggregates that make up a living being. Just briefly, those five are form, feelings, thoughts, impulses, and consciousness. Also known, you could say using different English words, form, rupa, is Pali and Sanskrit. Form is like our physicality. The feelings can also be known as emotions, but not fully blown emotions yet, like mental sensations. The thoughts can be known as perception or noting or recognition. And the fourth skandha is intention or volition. I like to call it impulses because it's like a shortened version of habitual mental impulses. We have the habit of reacting mentally, impulsively, unless, of course, we start to train the mind to undo this habit, to check this habit. Then I like to say that we can create a buffer zone, between our experience, through our body, through our feelings, through our recognition of the feelings, make a gap, like a buffer zone between reacting that experience, so you don't impulsively react and create negative karma, for instance. And then, of course, with the negative karma, would leave a karmic imprint on our consciousness, the fifth of the skandhas. Anyway, moving on, I digressed a little bit to right concentration. Now, our goal with right concentration, utilizing the right effort and the right mindfulness based on morality, our goal is to develop one-pointed concentration so that we're able to undistractedly focus on an object so that we get to know what it is. Then this gives rise to the first two of the Eightfold Path, gives rise to right understanding, gives rise to the right intentions. Right understanding and right intentions, the wisdom aspect of the path, are mentioned first because this is the purpose of our practice. This is the goal of our practice. It's the goal of the other aspects of the Eightfold Path, to develop right understanding and have right intentions. As I mentioned straight up, that the right understanding is the antidote to uproot ignorance, and right intention is the antidote to uproot attachment and aversion, that dualistic way of thinking, conceptual way of thinking that arises from ignorance, the belief in the self and other. Okay, so I think that's probably, we can't go into too much detail today in relation to right concentration. I actually have been in the Zoom class that I teach for public every Saturday. We have been talking about this type, this practice, and the right concentration, all aspects of the practice, including aspects coming from the Abhidharma to do with the derivative mental factors and so forth, for a few months actually. So if you want to, you can look on my Facebook page, and then you can access all of the videos. I think we started to record this class from about the 1st of August. We did it prior to that as well. Anyway, let me just look at my notes here, make sure I've covered everything. Okay, so the right understanding is to have an understanding in the 4 seals. We call them 4 seals. I'm not talking about the animal now, you know, the animal that lives in the ocean. But actually, I'm talking about it's like a seal, like a government seal, government stamp. The 4 seals of Buddhism are, the first 3 relate to conditioned phenomena and to interdependent phenomena. So relative reality, and that is that all phenomena, mental and physical, are impermanent, anicca. Because of this impermanence and other factors, they have the nature of being unsatisfactory, dukkha. Quite often we say they have the nature of being suffering. The third is non-self, anatta, that there is no self that is independent from other things. There is no self that exists solely from its own side. And this is important for you to study actually in your own time, as well as asking other teachers, and myself if you like, to study the Paccita Samutpada, which means the interdependent origination doctrine that the Buddha taught, so that you can get to understand more of this no self. Where do you find this self? I mentioned the 5 skandhas before. You know, where is the self in the skandhas? Is it in the form skandha? Is it throughout the skandhas, all of them? But they're actually changing all the time, like mentioned. They are impermanent. So is it in the collectiveness of the whole of the skandhas, or is it in one of the skandhas, in the form and the feeling and the thoughts, the impulses, or the consciousness? How could it be? Constantly changing. Impossible. So the 4th of the seals is that nirvana is freedom from this. So enlightenment is total freedom from cause and effect, total freedom from impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and self or no self. Okay, so that's right understanding. You understand these 4 seals. Also, right understanding includes the 4 Noble Truths, as mentioned earlier today by Venerable Ponchai. Included in the 4 Noble Truths is the law of karma, or what I like to call the universal law of karma. Universal law of karma and vipaka, or cause and effect, where the cause is always dependent upon previous effects, and the effects are dependent upon causes. The cause by itself does not exist, has no self. It's empty of self. Vipaka by itself does not exist. Therefore, we are able to break the cycle. This is how we're able to attain enlightenment. If the cause was totally existent as a self, and the effect was totally existence as a self, or collectively they were totally existence as a self, we could never break through them. It would be impossible. Okay, so the next thing we need to understand is of also relative reality, impermanence, suffering, no self, and ultimate reality, that in the reality of enlightenment. Not that we can understand it yet, because actually the wisdom of the Buddhas is inexpressible. You know, we cannot express it with words. It's unthinkable. We can't think about it using concepts. It's beyond all this. It's paramita. It's totally beyond the normal understanding. So we don't understand the ultimate yet, but you can understand that we are able to. The Buddha is the example of this. And some of the great masters throughout the ages are the example of this. We aim towards this. Faith in Buddhism, you know, you could say there's 3 or 4 types of faith. The first one is having faith in the good qualities of the teacher, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So that especially the teacher and the teachings. You can see the good qualities. You have faith in these good qualities. Faith can be expressed as confidence and trust as well. Also, the next level of faith is having the faith of emulation, where now you understand these good qualities so much that you want to become these good qualities. You want to emulate these good qualities. So that is the faith of emulation. Then, of course, after practicing and developing more and more trust, more and more confidence in the teacher and the teachings, the Buddha and the Dharma, then you're able to go beyond doubt and uncertainty about the teacher and the teachings and the good qualities that you have developed or are developing and or have developed within yourself. This is called the faith of conviction. The conviction now that you have no more doubt about it. When these three types of faith are together, this is perfect faith according to the Dharma. So this is very important. Faith is very important, actually, because the opposite of faith is distrust, really, isn't it? A lack of trust, a lack of confidence. This also could relate to yourself, too. You have to have trust and confidence in yourself rather than doubting your abilities, doubting even the possibility that you can free yourself from the mental afflictions and perfect the enlightened qualities and eventually attain enlightenment. So then I think that's about it, really, unless we have more time to go into the concentration aspect. Maybe I'll just give an overview of a few things. The mental factors, okay? We have 5 omnipresent mental factors. These are mental factors that are always present with consciousness, okay? Then we have 5 object-determining mental factors that relate to us discerning an object that we are perceiving with our mind or looking at with our mind. Then we have the 6 root delusions, as I mentioned earlier. We have the 20 secondary afflictions that I didn't go into detail but did mention earlier. Then we have the 11 virtuous mental factors, including what we just spoke about then, faith. And then we have the 4 changeable mental factors, because they're depending upon whether they're based on wholesome or unwholesome or neutral and so forth. Okay, so that's 51 mental derivative mental factors as taught in the Abhidhamma Kosha by Master Vasubandhu, probably about 1500 years ago. And Abhidhamma Kosha means the house of the higher knowledge. It's kind of like an expansion, you could even say commentary in certain areas on the Buddha's Abhidhamma. Okay, then of course through concentration, as you practice more and more and more and more, and you get rid, or not get rid of straight away, but decrease the 5 faults that we have that hinder our mental stabilization or meditation practice by applying what we call the 8 antidotes. As you do this more and more and more, and start to traverse through the 9 levels or 9 stages of meditation, and also go through what we call the absorptions or the jhanas, form jhanas, formless jhanas. What we're doing is we're slowly purifying the mind from the mental afflictions. Initially, the gross aspects of these mental afflictions, and eventually the more subtle aspects. Slowly, the mind becoming more pure, more pure, more pure. Less attached, less attached, less attached. The mind becoming bright, flexible. The more the mind is bright and flexible, the more it's able to remain on an object one-pointedly. The more our mind becomes conducive to developing insight, genuine insight, through the practice of vipassana or penetrative insight meditation. Okay, so those faults I mentioned are laziness, forgetfulness, lethargy and excitement, not applying the antidotes, and over applying the antidotes. no, I won't go into detail there, but the actual antidotes for laziness are faith, aspiration, effort, and physical and mental pliancy. The antidote for forgetfulness is mindfulness. The antidote for lethargy and excitement is awareness, that is knowing when the mind is wandered from the object and either become dull or agitated with too many thoughts, emotions, and so forth. Then the antidote for non-application, of course, is so easy to speak this, but hard to do, is application of the antidotes. And the antidote for over-application is to cease application. So I think, yes, time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully I didn't go over time too much there for you. And hopefully I've covered enough.
Yes.
What I always like to say is for you to mentally chew on it. For all of the students and all of the people that have participated today, to have a think about it, you know, take away this, maybe look at the video later and take notes again, you know, and ask me or ask other teachers. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Dharma Master. All I can say is that you have added one more student in your list and many more from India, from the university.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you very
we will
much.
definitely be following you that on your Facebook page for more learning.
Yes.
You know. And
Yes, so we are all students of the Dharma, and we are all teachers through our actions and words. You know, we always have the ability to improve always. Okay, may I do a very short dedication because I didn't do it earlier?
Yeah. Please.
Due to this merit, may we soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Yeah.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. It was such a wonderful experience. You can see the smile on my face and, you know, evaluate yourself. It was so enlightening, such a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Listening to you is itself like meditation. I felt I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed listening to you.
Actually, I say this humbly that normally without COVID or before COVID, once a week I was teaching a teenage class at the temple that I teach my adults there as well. And the teenage, they used to say to me that my voice was so relaxing they fell asleep in meditation. So I said, well, hopefully that didn't do it for you guys. Hopefully it didn't make you fall asleep.
No, not fall asleep. We were so attentively listening to you. And as you said earlier, your voice and accent was so perfect. It was so perfect, so easy to understand. It was so lovely listening to you. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to go forward with the vote of thanks, which would be given by Venerable Dr. Champalal Mandrele, who is also the convener of Tathagat Buddha Chair. So I would like to invite Bhanteji to give us a vote of thanks and give us the blessings and later on end of the session. Thank you so much.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now time is for the vote of thanks. So I am Venerable Dr. Chandrakirti, convener of Tathagat Buddha Chair, Samrat Ashok Subharti School of Buddhist Studies, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, India. So most venerable Sangha, dear brother and sisters in Dhamma, I feel extremely privileged to propose the vote of thanks for the guest lecture on the essence of chanting and commentary on Noble Eightfold Path, being organized by Tathagat Buddha Chair, Samrat Ashok Subharti School of Buddhist Study, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, UP, India. Let me being by the giving glory to the Lord Buddha, whose action and the teaching are the primary cause for all of us present here. First and foremost, I thanks our chief guest, Venerable Dr. Ponchai Palavadhammo, President of World Alliance of Buddhists and guest speaker, Dhamma Master, Dhammacharya Andrew J. Williams, Dhamma teacher, Melbourne, Australia, who from their busy schedule provide us time to the organized guest lecture on such an important topic. We are grateful to dynamic woman Dr. Salya Raj, Chief Executive Officer Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, without whose consent support this event would not be have been the possible. Dr. Salya Raj is the woman with the distinct vision and novel ideas. She is the source of the aspiration to the everyone. She always takes initiative in academic events and takes a keen interest in events associated with the path of Dhamma. We are grateful to organizing team led by Dr. Hirohito, includes Dr. Nilima Chavan, Dr. Harish Kumar, Dr. Rakesh Anand, Dr. Subham Kumar, Dr. Susma Shri, Dr. Seema Sharma, Dr. Eshpal, Dr. Pallavi Tyagi, and Miss Prachi Goswami for all the patience and hard work required in making this event the successful. We are thankful to the marketing and communication team of Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, led by the Vishal Sinha. Thank you to all who has to support for this event successfully. Bhavatu Sham Mangalam. And last, we have to chanting for the all human being free from suffering and get the happiness and peace. Sabetiya vivajantu sabbaroga vinasatumat bhavantuantaraya sukhe dega yuka bhava abhiva dhanasele sanechang vada pachayano chatar Dhamma vadanti ayuvano sukhang balang bhavatu sabamangalang rakhantu sabadevata sababuddha nubhavana sada sote bhavantu ta bhavatu sabamangalang rakhantu Badevata sabdhammanubhavena sada sote bhavantu ta bhavatu sabbamangalang rakhantu sabadevata sabbasanghanubhavena sada sote bhavantu te. Sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu.